light of the world. Arise, 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 arise. Get up and live a healthy life. Live a life. Youth alive, it's our motto. Youth alive, we fight together. Youth alive, that's our motive, to be the light of the world. Arise, 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 arise. Get up and live a healthy life. Youth alive. Youth alive, it's our motto. Youth alive, we fight together. Youth alive, that's our motive, to be the light of the world. Arise, 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 arise. Get up and live a healthy life. Youth alive. Youth alive, it's our motto. Youth alive, we fight together. Youth alive, that's our motive, to be the light of the world. Arise, 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 arise. Get up and live a healthy life. Youth alive. Youth alive, it's our motto. Youth alive, we fight together. Youth alive, that's our motive, to be the light of the world. Arise, 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 arise. Get up and live a healthy life. Youth alive. Youth alive, it's our motto. Youth alive, we fight together. Youth alive, that's our motive, to be the light of the world. Arise, 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 arise. Get up and live a healthy life. Youth alive. Youth alive, it's our motto. Youth alive, we fight together. Youth alive, that's our motive, to be the light of the world. Arise, 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 arise. Get up and live a healthy life. Youth alive. Youth alive, it's
Good morning, our dear viewers. And today in the studio, we're going to look at a very interesting topic called low self-esteem, or rather self-inferiority. My name is Chembo Claudine Kaloba, who's going to drive this program. And along with me, I have a beautiful young lady.
My name is Blessing Walia.
Yeah, so we are going to actually help in discussing the topic low self-esteem, or rather self-inferiority. So I'm just going to read something here just to get to understand what self-inferiority is before we get to our own definitions. According to the American Psychological Association, an inferiority complex is characterized by constant feelings of inadequacy or insecurity in your daily life due to a belief that you are physically or mentally inferior to others. Yeah, so that is actually according to the American Psychological Association. Blessings, what would you rather say low self-esteem is according to your own understanding?
Very good question. So I'll start by defining self-esteem. So when we talk about self-esteem, we're talking about what you believe about yourself, your abilities, and how you respect yourself, how you value yourself. So when it comes to low self-esteem, we're looking at situations where you do not really believe in yourself, you do not believe in your capabilities, you do not really believe in your values. Instead, you are basing everything that you're doing, everything that you feel about yourself, your opinions, on what other people say.
Okay, well, quite interesting there. So another question. How exactly does low self-esteem come up?
Very good question. So how does self-esteem come up? How does low self-esteem come up?
Yeah.
We're going to look into the first situation. Often children living in broken homes have low self-esteem. What do I mean by broken homes? Homes where parents are always shouting at each other. Maybe they even got divorced. They often tend not to believe that they are more worthy of what they want than others. And at times you just find that children that are coming from a home, young people that are coming from a home where they're always looked down on, where they're always told you cannot, that is what causes low self-esteem.
Exactly. And looking at low self-esteem, I think it would be right to just state what self-esteem is. Away from just talking about the negative self-esteem, but I feel there's also positive self-esteem, and this self-esteem is actually how you feel about yourself, if I'm not mistaken. So how you feel is what makes it low or high depends on how you feel about yourself. If you feel really low about yourself, if you feel really high and very confident of yourself, you basically would have high self-esteem or low self-esteem. But yeah, in this regard, we are looking at low self-esteem, and I bet Blessings has clearly elaborated. And apart from that, there would also be where you've been bullied in school, during childhood, friends, or even family members. Most of the times you find that you feel really low about yourself because you are being bullied and being told you are not equal to the task, you can't be this, no, this isn't for you, and stuff like that. And it makes you just feel very little. You belittle yourself, and hence low self-esteem may come up in that order, if I'm not mistaken. Anything else you would like to add?
You're very much correct. And sometimes it's just when you base your opinions on what others think, that results in low self-esteem. If you're going to base your opinion on what maybe Joseph said, on what Mary said, the time that Joseph won't say anything, you will not have anything about yourself. So not having to identify your identity at an early stage may cause you to have low self-esteem because that person that has been telling you that you can do it is not there.
Yeah. And on top of that, I feel even where, let's say you feel so high of yourself, you feel so confident, let's say it's a school, and then all of a sudden, maybe you've been passing and then one time you just fail, and everybody says you always think you can do it, and the like. I think that is maybe one of the causes of low self-esteem, where you fail once and you don't believe that you can actually fail, and then you actually fail. So sometimes when we set standards too high for ourselves and then we fail to accomplish it, it actually may cause us to have low self-esteem the moment we fail. Sometimes it's rejection. I'm sure we face rejection in one way or another. maybe rejection with family members, and most of the times us as young people would face rejection with the opposite sex, if I would say. Let's say
Very
there's this
true.
guy, there's this boy in class you like, there's this girl that you're crushing on, and the moment you approach her, and then she just says, sorry, you're not in my class.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're walking with your friend and he says, hi, you look pretty, and you're like, thank you. No, I wasn't telling you, I was telling the other one. Who does that?
Exactly. So there are those kind of things we face that actually cause us to have low self-esteem. I believe, if I'm not wrong, I believe low self-esteem can come in at any time. Sometimes it can be, would I say permanent or stagnant? They're just people who just feel really low about themselves. They're just depressed over themselves. And sometimes it just comes and goes. Let's say at this particular moment, because you failed to actually acquire a particular task, you feel low about yourself. And the next moment you do something better, and the confidence is back and boosted, and it makes you feel better.
And just in addition to
Yes.
that, when you feel you can do everything, you are likely to develop low self-esteem, because there are situations where you won't manage to do, as you've said, you end up failing to perform a certain task, and then you think you cannot do it anymore. But then not just understanding that I cannot do everything, but I know I can try to do things, may cause you to have low self-esteem.
Exactly. Yeah, so having looked at that, dear viewers, you can actually send through your comments, your contributions, your questions through to our Facebook page and through Sunshine Studio. I'm sure you're going to see the Youth Alive live broadcast. So next up, we're going to look at how does somebody with low self-esteem act? With low, what's that English word? The self-inferiority. How do these people act, or how do we act? Because I believe once in a while we fall prey to self-inferiority.
We isolate ourselves. Whenever we feel we're in a group of people that are better than us, and we feel that we cannot do anything that's good, we often tend to isolate ourselves, and people with low self-esteem will not even raise their hands in class, even though they know that they have the answer.
Yeah.
Apart from that, we tend to beat ourselves too much. What do I mean when I say we tend to beat ourselves too much? We criticize ourselves. Whenever we fail, even something that is very small, we think it's the end of the world, and we overreact, we will overthink things, often too quiet, like that.
Yeah, and just a contribution there. Somebody with low self-esteem is probably going to want to withdraw from everything else that they have interest in, because you just don't feel so competent of yourself. You don't feel that you can do it, or you can actually afford to do what others are doing. So away from that, you also doubt yourself more often. Whenever there's something you want to try out, there's a task assigned to you, you're going to doubt your capabilities. You just say, no, I can't do it. Since I failed last time, I don't think I can do it. So
Yes.
it's that. So when you see that, don't doubt. You're actually facing low self-esteem at that moment. Yeah. So we're going to look at probably the importance of self-esteem. What is the importance of self-esteem in general? Not low self-esteem, not high self-esteem, and not medium self-esteem. We want to start, I guess.
The importance of self-esteem is, it helps you somehow keep your identity.
Yeah.
As we said earlier, self-esteem is about what you think about yourself, what you believe about yourself, what you believe you can do, your values, not what other people think of you. So self-esteem is important because it helps keep one's identity. Once you find your identity and you set your values and you believe in your capabilities, it's not going to be hard for you to move in the straight path as that which leads to your goals.
Yeah. And probably the importance of self-esteem is it just gives you an identity, like she has said. Like, identification is very important. How are people going to know you? How will they remember you? What are they going to learn from you? Self-esteem helps us to really identify what we can do, what we can't do, and probably set standards for ourselves, not too high standards and not too low standards. And also it actually helps us be self-actualized. We know it's very difficult to reach self-actualization, but at least it gives you a place there, because some of us are not yet there, but then it actually gives you where to start from, and it gives you a direction. If you have self-esteem, you know, okay, this path isn't mine, this path is for me, and I bet I can also try out this path. So you won't necessarily have to jump into somebody's character, into somebody's doings, just to try and be like them, but then you will know what drives you if you have self-esteem. So it's actually important that we get to have self-esteem, identify who we are, and just know your capabilities, what you can try out, what you can't, and what is totally not for you. It's not everything that is meant to be tried out, and it's not everything that is meant for us.
Self-esteem actually also challenges you to work harder.
Mm-hmm.
If you say, I am a winner, I am a person who can do this, you actually be prompted to work harder than you did last time. And people with high self-esteem are likely not to be bullied in schools.
Exactly. I think I have what is that? An experience with having good self-esteem. I don't know, many people think I'm a bully, but the truth of the matter is I just don't like being bullied. Since childhood, I think I've been like that. In school, because I've always been very tiny, so even in 3rd grade, in 7th grade, in 9th grade, I was always small. But then the smallest person in the class is the person that was probably most never bullied, because I really knew who I was, I knew what drives me. So it was just almost impossible for somebody to easily get to me like that, because I would easily just tell them off. I'll tell them, no, I know the reason why you don't want to jump on me is because I'm small, but then I won't allow you to do that. And life goes on, it continues.
And on the other hand, I was actually a victim of being bullied at some point, and I really had low self-esteem. I would know the answer and not really raise my hand in class, because I looked at others to be more worthy of answering, to be more intelligent, to be the ones that are supposed to do everything, until secondary grade, when I looked up to this giant guy. I was like, hey, stop bullying my friend. And I was so small.
You had the courage to do that.
And that was the first time I stood up to somebody. The person laughed, but then I was like, if you dare report me, I know my rights. I know what I can do. If you dare bully me, I'm going to report you.
Well, that was
so it's not always about you trying to fight for yourself. It's also about you having the courage to find out the sources of protection and use those sources.
Yeah, I bet it's actually a good initiative. It's a good initiative to protecting yourself. I think it's a first step. Once you have this self-esteem, you identify your level of self-esteem, you're going to be able to defend yourself in whatsoever situation. And unlike always being pulled around, pushed around, you're bossed around, it's not the way that one is supposed to go about, because you just jump into other people's programs. Even when you're supposed to go to the market, you actually follow where they're going, and you don't even know where they're going. Yeah, so you can send through your comments through our Facebook page and through our YouTube channel, Sunshine Studio, and Youth Alive Organization page, so we can actually get to read and get to share the knowledge. So apart from that, we're going to discuss having looked at the importance of self-esteem, and we are going to look at does self-esteem contribute in the increase of HIV and AIDS among young people? I believe this is something we are struggling to fight against, which is HIV and AIDS, but then let's just discuss how self-esteem increases or decreases or contributes to the increase of HIV and AIDS. Blessing.
For starters, we've been talking about low self-esteem and how if you have low self-esteem, you're prone to actually following people. For example, you talked about how you're going to the market and then you find this group of people going maybe to town, and then you follow them, you don't know where they're going. Often low self-esteem contributes to you being pressured into indulging in illicit behavior because you don't know how to stand for yourself. Anyone who come with any proposal, it's easy for you to accept because low self-esteem causes you not to deny a lot of things. And one of the things is, no, let's go and have a sugar daddy, and you think it's the right thing because you believe they are better than you and you can't do anything. And for you to be better, you have to do what they're doing. You follow
Exactly.
suit. As a result, you are easily prone to getting HIV infection.
Exactly, yeah. So actually I think this is actually the important part of the discussion, because looking at self-esteem and HIV and AIDS, I think HIV and AIDS with young people, the young people actually topping, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And probably we would wonder where all this comes from. In the way back in the olden days, you would find the people who had HIV when it was coming, they are elderly people. These ones are probably our parents. People would look up to as parents and the like and the like. But nowadays, you find a lot of young people being tested HIV positive even when they were not born with HIV and AIDS. Probably this question actually gives us the answer to say it's probably self-esteem, non-identification of self-esteem that leads young people to that. Because if you really don't know a level of self-esteem, you are going to do everything that you are told by your friends. Peer pressure comes in because you have low self-esteem. Let's say I'm this person that has low self-esteem. I don't really have that much of confidence in me. So whereby I have a best friend and she tells me, Chembo, there's this person, there's this pool party we're having, there's this house party we're having, oh, let's go, just do this. Because I feel a little about myself, I feel a little less about myself. I would want to say no,
Let me
I
follow
don't want
the
to
big
go.
girls.
And then now they tell you, you are even refusing. It means you are not our class and the like, stuff like that. And you say, okay, trying to fit in, trying to find your identity through this person. You are going to follow, and following there, it's a done deal.
I actually had an interaction with a few of the boys from a certain community where I was telling them, but why don't you listen when girls say no? Because we had this interaction where we split them in groups, and the girls brought what they feel the boys are supposed to understand that they don't understand. And one of the things they came out with is, when we say no, let them accept that it's a no. And the boys' response to that was, they don't mean they are no. We've been taught by our elders that if they say no, then it's a yes. So people with low self-esteem often would give a silent no, and the opposite sex won't really take it serious. It's the same case with the guys. There is a no from a person who has self-esteem, high self-esteem. There is a no that will make you understand that this is a no. And somebody with low self-esteem is likely not to use that no, but they will use the no, until the no becomes a yes at the end of the day.
Yeah, actually, until the no becomes forced into a yes at the end of the day. Yeah, I think this is actually a common challenge that young people are facing. You say no, but then the actual response the other person is perceiving is going to be yes. Why? Because our body language matters, or our non-verbal actions matters. If you have high self-esteem, it's going to be easy for you to know what you stand on. You're going to stand on your ground. You won't actually let people pull you left, right, center just for you to come out and say, anyway, I was just feeling shy to say yes, but it was a yes. So young people, let's make sure we mean our no, and let your yes be a yes, to avoid problems and to avoid things that you actually can't control in the future. Yeah. So we've actually observed that many young people are living competitive lives to actually in search of validation. So what role does self-esteem play in such a situation? Trying to find validation, yeah.
Often people with low self-esteem will try to find themselves, will try to find confidence. And who do they confide in, or what do they confide in? People telling them that they can do it, because they've not been able to tell it to themselves. So they will try by all means to just hear it from somebody else so that they can know that, yes, I can do it. Often they will look for external validation. This is why you find people even trying out new things. No, Mary has a new boot, let me buy a new boot. Maybe they will say, I'm worth Mary's standards, or maybe I'm like Mary, or I'm better, I can do what Mary can do, because they have not taught themselves that you can do it. This is why we're even finding people today posting pictures just to get people to tell them that they are more worthy than what they believe or what they think.
Exactly. So without taking much of time, I would want us to look at who exactly is affected by people with self-inferiority or low self-esteem people. I think it's a simple question,
Yes.
Yeah, a simple discussion question. Yeah, so
Who is affected?
yeah.
I am affected. You are affected. The community is affected. Even the person with low self-esteem is affected. In a scenario where your no is not a no and you end up getting pregnant, who bears the child?
Yo, myself.
If you are in school, who drops out?
Me?
And if you go to school, who keeps the child?
We don't know.
Yes. So
Okay.
it's initially self-esteem affects everyone, because even in a meeting where you're supposed to say something that will bring about positive development, you will shun away from saying it. You
Yeah.
keep it in your mind, thinking, no, that one is the one who is better, and so let me just remain quiet. As we're nothing, as we're useless, we can't say anything that is positive, we can't say anything that is right, and you keep away a good project, you are keeping away a good answer, you are keeping away a good key to opening development. So the community, the world, the country, the globe at large is affected just by you having low self-esteem. We are having so many people with brilliant ideas, so many people that actually are trying to aspire to be the best that they can, but because they cannot tell it to themselves, because they cannot believe it about themselves, they will keep those ideas and sit on the dreams, and the next thing you know is, I'm depressed because everything that I thought I would do, that one has said he has stolen my idea, so what will I do now? It's okay, he's sitting on my plan. Bango diakidira, as people say.
Yes,
You're
bango
working hard, and
diakidira.
bango diakidira, because I couldn't bring out my idea. I'm telling my friend, say, no, you can do this, you can do that, and then my friend goes and makes it seem like it's theirs. They say it and they own it because
Yeah.
of their self-esteem, and you get to blame them, saying, no, bango diakidira. Meanwhile, it's you who didn't come out.
Exactly.
And that causes depression, that causes mental illnesses.
So actually, you're actually jumping into the next the next topic of the next question of discussion. But anyway, you're actually on the right path. So our dear viewers, if you just joined us, you're listening to the Youth Alive talk show, which is based on the discussion low self-esteem, or rather self-inferiority. And we're actually, you can send through your comments, your contributions through our Facebook page. We are live on our Facebook page, Youth Alive Zambia Livingstone. And we are also streaming live on Sunshine Studio. So be free, be sure to send your contribution and your questions, if any. And yeah, the discussion continues. So having looked at who is affected by the low self-esteem or low self-esteem on this, I feel personally, yourself with low self-esteem, you get to be affected a lot, because you'll find that you will not progress positively. Rather, you will stay at the same position, or you actually go backwards. The same thing you said, where you feel people are just actually stepping on your rights, they're not promoting you, but in actual sense, you are killing yourself. Because the moment you don't come out, the moment you don't speak out what you have to say that is going to bring about positive change, it's a setback. It's like you just sit behind with all the solutions and the answers and say, let them be. After all, I'm the one with the key.
And
So-
you're more likely to actually be found as a victim of abuse, because even abusers, perpetrators of abuse, will not look for a person who can speak for themselves. They will go for a person who can't speak for themselves. So at the end of the day, they give you the blame. No, you're the one who caused it, and because you believe everything that they say about you, not having what you believe about yourself, you easily feel it's you.
Yeah.
No, maybe I should have done this. No, maybe I should have dressed in this way. No, maybe I shouldn't have said that, when they are not at fault.
Yeah. So, just one point talking about dressing. Maybe I should have dressed in this way. I think most of the times I fall prey to that, because there's a way I feel about myself if I'm dressed in a certain way, especially approaching a certain audience. So my dress code actually improves my self-esteem every day.
Yeah.
So how I dress, whether I'm wearing makeup or not on that particular day, it actually contributes to my self-esteem. There are times when I just feel, I think I should have worn something like this, not what I'm dressed in, because I feel this is not the right attire for this particular audience. So for me, that works for me. What I dress, what I put on, what shoes I wear, everything actually helps me to feel more high of myself and confident in everything I do. Yeah. So yeah, away from that, we're also going to look at the effects of low self-esteem now. the direct effects of low self-esteem.
Mental health is one major effect of low self-esteem. Often people that have low self-esteem beat themselves too much.
Yes.
Their way of thinking is something that is really hard to identify, hard to understand, because even when they can do it, they will not do it. They'll be alone, thinking I can't, and be depressed over why I can't.
Exactly.
And even just having too much of everything is a problem. Even having high self-esteem, where you set the highest standards, even when you know that this I can't, you still
Not
want to put it
achievable.
there, and it also causes you to overreact whenever you fail
Exactly.
and think it's the end of the world. Why am I failing? How did I fail? But I'm supposed to do this.
Okay. So on top of that, I think, and actually this is actually what it is. Low self-esteem would actually cause you to have suicidal thoughts away from mental health. You know, mental health is very important, and most of the times find young people are actually killing themselves due to the fact that they feel low or little about themselves in a certain way. Sometimes it starts from childhood, just like she mentioned in her preamble, to say most of the times things we face during childhood. And most people with low self-esteem grow with this, and growing up to this, they believe they're just not up to the task, they're not equal to the task. So it's important to actually have a positive self-esteem about yourself.
Okay.
And
Good morning.
in conclusion, I would actually want to say it's important to know who you are, to identify yourself, identify your strengths, and identify your weaknesses. And also probably listen to what others say about you. Blessing, what type of a person are you? I feel if I were to evaluate you, not in a negative way, anyway, it's good to listen to both positives and negatives so that you work on them. I'll say, no, Blessing is this confident girl, she's brilliant, but then maybe she talks too much. But I think that's a positive one if I were me, because I
Yes.
talk too much and I think that is my positive. It actually contributes to my self-esteem.
Yes.
And yeah, so let's just learn to identify who we really are, know your strengths, your weaknesses, what you can do, what you can't do, and all those things you do when nobody's watching. Those are the things that you need to actually bring out, because they will actually help to increase your self-esteem. If you are good at one thing, go out and bring it out. Let it out so that you can actually find who exactly can actually help you to develop that particular thing that you're good at. I don't know what you would want to say to the young people out there with low self-esteem and self-inferiority.
I would just like to say it to yourself. If you don't have a mirror, just sing it to yourself. If you have a mirror, go in the mirror and tell yourself, I can do it. It's important to listen to what people have to say, but do not let them write your entire book. If they're going to tell it yourself before they say it to you, so that when you go there, what they will say will just be a correction. If it's a red ink that they're going to put, so work on this area, you will not have them write the entire paragraph for you, the entire story. It's you, it's about you. Rock those crocs. If dressing up makes you feel okay, dress up smartly, dress up the way you feel, but then do not forget that also have a listening ear to make the petty corrections, to make the little corrections that you have to make, and believe that you can do it. Don't beat yourself too much. It's very possible for somebody to fail. In fact, failing is the first attempt in learning. So the fact that you haven't been able to achieve something should not bring you down. It should challenge you to do more so that you can maintain your low self-esteem. You can maintain your high self-esteem rather. Let that self-esteem be coupled with identity. Who are you? Who do you think you are? Before you look at who does the world think I am. I think that will really put an impact on yourself. Many other times there are really deteriorating issues that we face in childhood and we don't want to talk about them. If talking about them makes you identify yourself, don't be afraid, go for it. If it's climbing a tree, go climb a tree.
Yeah, actually, so it's also important to do personal planning. I'm sure as we are drawing close to the end of the year, probably we'll be evaluating those plans we made for ourselves in the beginning of the year or late last year. But then it's very important to plan, because out of planning you get to find things that you have to do better, that you can't do, seek help, seek solutions from elsewhere, and it will actually help you in your everyday, day-to-day living as a human being. So plan is the first thing. And then away from that, you get to discover everything else as it comes. They say practice
Makes perfect.
Yes. So as you plan, I believe you are practicing. So as you plan to have a better self-esteem, you're actually perfecting your high self-esteem, but not higher self-esteem, because it will disappoint you at one point where you won't just achieve what you needed. Yeah. So dear listeners, dear viewers, thank you very much for following our program. See you next week or at the same time. That is 9 hours every Thursday. Youth Alive Livingstone, Youth Alive Zambia Livingstone page, and also Sunshine Studio, that's located at Mosotunia Building, Old Wing, New Wing rather, 60th floor, room number 603. And you catch us next week at the same time with a different program. Thank you very much, and thank you, Blessing, for being my guest.
Thank you.
Sure.
Remember, plan it,